大家平安。To start off, I was going to ask them to not put this up yet, but most of the people that are here would have already seen this because it's just we have fewer people today.
本来没有要直接先播放这个，但是我想大家应该都已经看到，所以。
So there's we won't worry about it. We can just leave this up because I just want you to think about a place on earth.
我大概想就是有一个在世界上，在地球上有一个地方。
Now, I know that there are some places where you think, you know, that would be a really nice place to go see.
有些地方你会觉得，那个地方是我会很想去那边看那边的风景。
I know that a lot of people who live in like Indiana say it'd be great to go visit Hawaii.
我知道有很多在印第安纳州的人会想说，我想要去那个夏威夷观光。
Because Hawaii looks nothing like Indiana.
因为夏威夷跟印第安纳州是完全不同的，就是不同的景色的地方。
But then there are other places where you think, you know, I really don't feel a need to go visit that place.
那有些地方你会觉得，其实我不需要去那个地方看。
And I definitely would not want to live there.
而且我绝对不会想要住在那边。
So try to think in your mind a place that you definitely would not want to live.
所以是想在这个世界有哪一个地方是你绝对不会想要住在那边的？
What is that type of place? Where is a place that you definitely would not want to live on earth?
有哪一种地方是你绝对这一辈子不会想要去住在那边？
There are few enough people here that I can actually ask questions and you can answer them. So.
因为这些人很少，所以就是大家可以回答。你们觉得呢
Where?
沙漠。
沙漠。
Desert.
The desert. Okay, so the desert is one place that you definitely would not want to live. Where else?
还有哪里呢？
China.
Okay. 中国。
Okay. Where else?
还有吗
North Pole.
The North Pole.
北
Okay.
极。
Very cold. Any place else? Syria. Syria would be that would be a rough place to live right now. Yes. Extremely high mountain.
还有很高很高的山。
Really, really high mountain. I would love the view. Wouldn't want to live there.
我会很想要看那边的风景，但是我不会想要住在那边。
Okay. Places that there are some places that have a fire season. You know, like every year they have a forest fire and lots of their houses burn down. I would not want to live there.
有一些地方它会有那个季节性的那种森林大火，那我也不会想要住在那种地方。
I mean, it just seems like a place that has a fire season doesn't sound like a very nice place to live.
就是觉得有一个地方会有季节性的大火，就那种地方我是不会想要住在那边。
There are some places, people that I know that would not want to live in Indiana because we have a tornado season.
我知道有些人不会想要住在印第安纳，因为那边有那个龙卷风。
And if you think the wind in a typhoon is strong,
如果你觉得台风的风已经很强的话，
it does not compare to a tornado.
那个是跟那个龙卷风是没有办法相比的。
The tornado winds are about twice as strong as what you have in a typhoon.
那个就是那龙卷风的那个风力的强度应该是台风的2倍。
It will blow a house apart.
它是真的可以把那个房子吹掉。
So there's definitely some places that we're like, you know, I just wouldn't want to live there.
真的就是有一些地方，就是我们一想到就不会想要去那边住。
And one place that a lot of people would prefer to not live is the desert.
有一个地方可能大家不会想住，就是沙漠。
Okay. And there are some reasons behind that.
那有一些原因。
And so let's. Okay. A lot of the information that I'm sharing with you today actually comes from a book that Jerry and I have started working through.
今天有很多资讯都是从这本书 我跟那位弟兄一起在看那本书来的。
This is not the updated file, but that's okay. And it's by a guy named Ray Vanderlaan.
他这个作者是就是 Ray Vanderlaan 这个人写的。
And he talks about walking with God in the desert, and we'll talk about that here.
那他也讲述就是在沙漠与神同行。
Now, when a lot of people think of a desert, this is what they think of.
当我想到沙漠的时候，这个图像应该就是我们能够想到的。
You know, if I were to say living in the desert, isn't this what you would normally think of?
如果说，我住在沙漠，通常你们就会联想到这样子的景象吧。
Because in our minds, in my mind at least, when people talk about desert, I think of hot and sandy.
因为通常在我，至少我是，如果说你说沙漠的话，我就会想到很热，然后有很多沙子。
But that is not the definition of a desert.
但这个并不是沙漠的定义哦。
The two largest deserts on Earth have no sand.
在这个地球上的2大沙漠其实是没有沙子。
Actually, the two largest deserts on Earth are not even hot.
那2大沙漠其实根本就不热。
They are at the North and South Pole.
他们各自在北极跟南极。
Because the definition of a desert has nothing to do with the amount of water that is on the ground.
因为沙漠的定义跟那个地上有多少水没有相关性。
The definition of a desert has to do with the amount of rainfall.
沙漠的定义跟下雨的那个量才有相关。
And the North and South Pole are so cold that it doesn't rain.
那因为北极跟南极非常的冷，所以它没有下雨。
And so it's incredibly dry. Of course, or it doesn't snow. And so it's incredibly dry, and so it's actually considered a cold or frozen desert.
那因为它非常的冷，所以它没有雨量，所以但是它非常的，所以它就非常的干嘛，对，所以它就是两个就是非常冷，然后非常干的地方。
Incredibly difficult to live in, so I wouldn't want to live in a frozen desert, but it's still a desert.
它应该算一个冷冻的那个沙漠，但是那边非常的，就是那边居住应该是非常困难，我不会想要住在那边。
So a desert is any place that has very little rainfall. It has to have less than 250 millimeters of rainfall a year.
所以沙漠它的定义就是说，有任何地方它的那个雨量一年少于250毫米的话，那就是定义为沙漠。
And it can be any place on Earth that has less than 250 millimeters.
它这个是就是说，在地球任何地方，只要是那个雨量一年少于250毫米的话，就是被称为沙漠。
To give you an idea, the last typhoon that came through dumped 984 millimeters of rain in Taiwan in one day.
那让你们比较有一个概念，就是说，我们上个台风梅基台风，它一天的下雨量就是984毫米一天。
So Taiwan received more rain in one day, almost 4 times as much rain in one day than the desert gets in a year.
所以台湾的下雨量可能一天的下雨量就是在沙漠一整年下雨量的4倍。
And often the temperatures in a desert are very extreme. So it gets up to 50 degrees Celsius in the daytime and drops to 0 at night.
它那边的温度是非常极端的，就是在白天的话可能是50度 C， 然后晚上的话可能是0度。
So it can vary a great deal, even in one day.
所以它的变化是非常非常大的，就算是在一天之内。
It's very difficult living conditions, and therefore it's difficult for plants and animals to survive.
那它又是一个非常难以居住的地方，所以不适合植物或者是动物的生长。
And it's been used, so they use the desert as an illustration in the Bible to help people understand times of difficulty or testing or struggle.
所以在圣经上很常用沙漠来描述说，一些困难的或者说有试炼的时间。
And even today we kind of can use that as a illustration when we're talking with people, just one-on-one or in groups.
所以就算是今天我们可能跟1对1跟人家说的时候，我们可以描述说一些困难的时间的时候，就是像在沙漠一样。
Because if someone were to come up to me and say, so Mark, how you doing? And if I say, well, to be honest, I've been kind of going through a desert time in my life. You wouldn't say, oh, that's great, good to know.
那可能有些人跑来找马可牧师，然后说，那你最近马可牧师，你最近还好吗？马可牧师可能说，我最近有点像是在经历在我生命中的沙漠期间。那你不会回答说，哦，这样很好啊。
You wouldn't congratulate me. You wouldn't say, I think that is fantastic.
你不会恭喜他说，哇，我觉得这样太棒了。
You would say, so what seems to be the problem?
你应该会说，所以是什么样的问题呢？
So in Deuteronomy,
对，生命记。
Just a little background. When the Israelites, when God led the Israelites out of Egypt,
所以当那个神引领那以色列人出埃及的时候，
he brought them out. He was wanting to take them to the promised land.
所以他是想要把他们带领出来到那个应许之地。
And so they send spies into the promised land and look at the promised land and the spies come back with a report.
他们就是派出一些探子刺探，然后去看一下那边的状况，然后再回来回报他们的状况。
The spies go in and investigate this land. They're there for 40 days and they really check it out and see how it looks.
那些探子在那个地方就是探勘了40天，然后确认说那边各样的状况之后回来。
And when they come back, a majority of the spies basically say, "This land looks fantastic."
那些探子回来，大部分探子都说，哇，那个地方超棒的。
It's an area where you can have plants and animals and really good crops and it would be fantastic for us to live there.
那边是一个对植物、对动物都是非常好，对农作物都是非常好的地方。
And so all of them actually report that part. And then most of the other spies come back and say, however, there are giants living in the land.
那大部分的探子都说，尽管是它那个环境非常好，但是问题是那边有巨人居住在那边。
There's no way.
我们不能去那边。
We should just find something else.
我们应该去别的地方。
We will, if we go in, we will die.
如果我们去那地方后，我们会死在那边。
There is no hope.
那边没有盼望。
And there are two other guys, Joseph and Caleb. They come back and say, there are giants in the land. Let's go kick them out. What? Joshua and Caleb, they come back and say, there are giants in the land. Let's go kick them out.
但是有两个探子，其中两个探子，那就是约书亚跟迦勒，他们回来说，我们可以把那些巨人赶走。
And so the people end up listening to the other spies that come back with a report.
但是那些这些百姓可能就是相信了，就是那大部分探子所说的话。
And the Lord says, fine, then you can live in the desert.
那所以他们就不进去到那个应许之地。那神就说，好吧，那你们就在沙漠居住吧。
Matter of fact, you will live in the desert 1 year for every day that the spies were in the city. You will live in the desert one year for every day that they were in the city. So they lived there for 40 years.
哦，那因为神就说，那你们在沙漠居住的日子，就是跟他们探子去了40天，那你们就是他们去的几天，你们就是在沙漠居住几年，所以他们在沙漠待了40年。
So at the end of that time of 40 years, this is what is told to them.
所以
So at the end of that 40-year time period, this is what's told to them.
所以当他们居住完40年在沙漠之后，这个就是神要他们说的话。
It says, "Be careful to follow every command I am giving you today, so that you may live and increase and may enter and possess the land the Lord promised an oath to your ancestors. Remember how the Lord your God led you all the way in the wilderness these 40 years, to humble and test you in order to know what was in your heart, whether or not you would keep his commandments. He humbled you, causing you to hunger, and then feeding you with manna, which neither you nor your ancestors had known, to teach you that man does not live on bread alone, but on every word that comes from the mouth of the Lord. Your clothes did not wear out, and your feet did not swell during these 40 years. Knowing then in your heart that as a man disciplines his son, the Lord your God disciplines you.
所以这就是他们在沙漠居住40年之后，神要这样说的：我今日吩咐你的一切诫命，你们要谨守遵行，使你们可以存活，人数增加，并且可以进去得着耶和华向你们的列祖起誓应许的那地。并要纪念耶和华你的神这40年在旷野引导你的一切路程，不要使你受苦，要试炼你，要知道你心里怎样，看看你肯守他的诫命不肯。他使你受苦，任你饥饿，把你和你的列祖不认识的玛拿赐给你吃，使你知道人活着不是单靠食物，更要靠耶和华口里所出的一切话。这40年来，你身上的衣服没有穿破，你的脚也没有肿起来，因此你心里要明白，耶和华你的神管教你，好像人管教他的儿子一样。
Okay, I'm going to back up for a second just to point some things out. So they're given this reminder at the end of this 40-year time period.
所以在这40年之后，这神给他们一个提醒。
So the Lord is saying, I sent you out into the desert because to punish you for not being able to trust me to take you into the promised land.
那神就说，我让你们在沙漠居住40年，为了是要惩罚你们。一开始没有相信我，让我带领你们进入到那应许之地。
But it wasn't just punishment.
但并不只是惩罚。
Because it also says that I was testing. Excuse me. I was testing you.
因为他有说到他在试炼他们。
To know that you will trust me.
让他们知道说，让他们愿意能够相信神。
It says that he humbled you. He humbled his people.
他使他的百姓谦卑。
To realize that they could do nothing for themselves. That they had to rely on the Lord.
让他们知道他们凭着自己没有办法做什么，必须要依靠神。
In the desert, there's not as much that you can get a hold of as far as food is concerned.
在沙漠其实你很难掌控一些东西，例如食物。
And so he fed them with manna.
所以神用玛拿来，就是赐玛拿给他们。
Which means they never figured out what it was.
就代表说玛拿就是说他们不知道那是什么，就是他们就是到最后也没有知道，也不知道那是什么东西。
Because the best word they could come up with is manna.
因为他们对于玛拿这个东西最好的一个解释就是这个字，这个词。
This word in the original language means what is this?
因为玛拿它的那个原文意思就是说这个是什么。
They never figured it out.
他们从来没有，后来就是没有不知道说这是什么。
God just said, I'm going to provide something for you, and it'll be there, and you can collect it and eat it, and it will nourish you.
那神就说，我会赐给你们这个东西，然后就是可以供养你们。
And they're like, okay, but we don't know what it is. He said, you don't need to know what it is.
那百姓就说，好啊，谢谢。但是问题是这是什么东西？然后神说，你不需要知道这是什么东西。
And so they're like, okay, we'll just call it. What is it?
所以百姓就是帮他取名叫做这是什么。
Never did figure it out.
他们就是从来都没有，就是从来不知道这是什么。
Now notice they wandered in the desert for 40 years.
要记得他们在40年就是就是在沙漠晃了40年。
And their clothes did not wear out.
他们衣服没有被穿破。
Do you have clothes that last for 40 years?
你有衣服可以穿40年的吗？
That's a long time.
那真的是一个很长的一段时间呢。
Their feet did not swell.
他们的脚没有肿起来。
They were walking in the desert for 40 years.
他们在沙漠行走了40年。
My feet swell if I walk too long in one day.
我的脚在一天，假设我走太远的话，我的脚就会肿起来了。
Their shoes didn't wear out.
他们的鞋子也没有被穿破。
They didn't have that good of a
shoe back then.
那个时候应该没有这么好的鞋子吧？
I mean, it's not like they could go to the local sporting goods store.
那不是说我们可以去那运动用品店，然后去买一个鞋子。
The Lord provided for the Israelites for 40 years.
神他自己亲自供应以色列百姓40年，
So this was a time of testing.
所以这个是一个他们被试炼的时候。
So they would realize that even in the midst of all of this struggle,
好让他们了解到说，在他们这么挣扎的这一段过程，
they could rely on their God.
他们仍然可以依靠他们的神。
So it's even in times of desert,
所以就算是在我们试炼的时候，
it's not necessarily a bad thing.
并不代表说这可能就是一个不好的事情。
Well, the Sinai Desert.
那西
This is the area of the Sinai Desert.
这个区域是那个西乃的沙漠。
This area over here is what you would normally picture as more sandy. Yeah, a lot more sand.
那左边这个区域是比较就是沙子比较多的地方。
But this area over here is not as sandy.
那右边刚才马可牧师指的地方是比较没有那么多沙子的地方，
Actually, it would be like this.
比较像是这个图这样子，
Rocky and mountainous.
有很多石头还有山。
And so this whole area would look very different from what we would typically picture as a desert.
所以这跟我们想象中的沙漠不太一样。
Now, what we're going to do is we're going to investigate 3 different trees that grow in the desert.
那今天我们要做的就是说，我们要来研究3种不同的树会长在沙漠里面的树，
And why these trees grow so well.
而且为什么这些树可以在沙漠里面长得那么好。
And then we're going to look at how that might apply to us.
而且从中可以就是希望我们能够应用在我们的生命当中。
So the first tree we're going to look at is called the acacia tree.
那第一个树就是中文是翻译说相思树或者是那个洋槐。
Now the acacia tree. Work with me. Try again. Oh, there we go. The acacia tree looks like this.
那个我们叫它洋槐好了，就是大概长是这样子。
However, I mean there are lots of different variants of the acacia tree.
那它这个洋槐树它有非常多种类。
At this point, there are currently over 100 different types of acacia tree.
大概有100种。
And some of them are considered actual trees, and some of them are more like a bush.
那有些就是一棵大树，有些是那种比较矮丛。
Yeah, so they're a little shorter, but they have about the same shape and look.
但是它们就是它们就是高度的差别。
And one of the things that is significant about the acacia tree is they all have very, very deep roots.
那洋槐它有一个很特别的地方，就是说它们有非常深的那个根。
Now, in the desert, you have, like we said, very little rain.
在沙漠里面雨很少。
And in the Sinai desert, it's very rocky, and so when they do have rain, the rain doesn't soak into the ground very much.
那在这西乃的这个沙漠呢，就是它很少的雨，那就算是有雨，它那个就是地也没有办法吸收。
And so as a result, the water, typically all the rainwater just kind of flows into one spot, and it creates these really fast flowing pop-up rivers.
那它就是所以在那个地方有很多那种下雨的时候呢，就会有很多那种就是临时的那种小的河流。
And you'll have a river for about 2-3 days, and then it'll dry up and there's nothing to go.
那个河流可能就是大概维持2-3天呢，之后就干掉。
These trees typically grow along those rivers that just kind of pop up and then go away.
那这些树呢，就是刚好生长在这些很临时产生的这些河的旁边。
And so these rivers allow water to get into the ground, and these trees from very, very low underground soak up that water.
那这些树呢，就从这些临时产生的河的这水来吸收。
And okay. And so as a result of this water that comes from way deep underground coming up, then they can handle the times of a lot of heat.
所以这些树呢，从那非常非常深的地方吸到的水，那它可以就是在这个高热的下面仍然能够存活。
And they can also handle times where there's very little water.
那当然，他们也是可以在就是非常少水的状况下仍然能够继续存活。
The tree grows rather slowly, and so the wood is extremely hard.
那因为这个树长得非常的慢，所以它的木头是非常的硬的。
But it's not just the fact that it grows slowly. In the process of it growing, it also deposits various minerals into the body of the tree.
那它其实不只是因为它长得慢而它的木头会变硬，还有就是说它可以产生一种那个矿物质，然后可以就是长在它的那个木头上面。
And so as a result, that wood just doesn't decay very easily at all.
所以它因为有这个矿物质，所以它那个木头就不容易腐朽。
So it's extremely hard, extremely resistant to decay.
所以它因为它的木头非常的硬，然后就是它能够就是抵抗那些产生的腐朽。
And insects will not eat it at all either.
那还有就是说那些昆虫也比较不容易侵害它。
Because of those mineral deposits, it's virtually unedible to insects.
因为那些矿物质对那些昆虫来讲是没办法吃。
And it was relatively common in the Sinai desert.
那相对上来讲的话，它那个在西乃那边的沙漠相对上是比较多的。
It's not like you're going to see an acacia forest, but you'll see them on a regular basis.
当然，它不能成为好像一个森林都是杨槐树在，但是你在那边就是西南的沙漠，蛮常会看到这种树。
It is common enough that the Lord gave instructions to Moses regarding the acacia tree.
所以在那沙漠是还蛮常见的，以至于神跟摩西说。
And this is what he said. The Lord said to Moses, excuse me, he didn't say that. The Lord said to Moses, tell the Israelites to bring me an offering. You are to receive the offering for me from everyone whose heart prompts them to give. These are the offerings you are to receive from them: gold, silver, and bronze, blue, purple, and scarlet yarn and fine linen, goat hair, ram skins dyed red, and another type of durable leather, acacia wood, olive oil for the light, spices for the anointing oil, and for the fragrant incenses, and onyx stones and other gems to be mounted on the ephod and the breastplate.
那在圣经里面，那个洋槐它是被翻译成皂荚木，所以耶和华对摩西说：“你要告诉以色列民，叫他们给我送礼物来。所有的心里乐意奉献的人，你们就可以收下他们给我的礼物。以下是你们要从他们收取的礼物：金、银、铜、蓝色、紫色、朱红色线、细麻、山羊毛、染红的公羊皮、海狗皮、皂荚木、灯油、膏油的香料和焚香用的香料、红玛瑙和镶嵌在以弗得和胸牌上的宝石。”
Now, I could have gone with a lot of verses talking about the acacia because then afterwards the Lord keeps telling Moses, now I want you to build this, and I want you to build this, and I want you to make it out of acacia wood.
那其实，在圣经里面有很常提到皂荚木，因为之后神会跟摩西讲说，我要你建造这个，建造那个，然后是用皂荚木来做的。
So the tabernacle for the Lord was built from acacia wood.
所以那圣殿是用皂荚木做的。
The Ark of the Covenant was built with acacia wood.
约柜也是用皂荚木做的。
The cover was built with acacia wood.
那个就是那个
the cover of the Ark of the Covenant.
那个约柜的那个盖子，就是那个罩子，也是用那个皂荚木做的。
Anything that they needed as far as the building for the tabernacle, all of it, if it was made of wood, it was from acacia.
其实圣殿中只要是木头造的，那它都是用皂荚木做的。
Which just demonstrates how durable this wood really was.
这其实就 能够反映说这个木头有多耐，
because they're carrying it through the desert.
因为他们是在沙漠里面长。
And once they get into the promised land, they still have the tabernacle.
那因为他们从那个沙漠，然后到那个应许之地，他们也是把那个约柜搬到那个应许之地。那他们就是那个木头，还是就是他就是用那个木头。
And they continued to use the tabernacle until the time of Solomon.
那个约柜是用到所罗门王的那个时代还在使用。
Basically, about 400 years, they had this tabernacle.
那约柜大概就是用了400年。
That's some pretty impressive wood.
那个木头应该算是很好的木头。
So, which is why, a couple reasons why the Lord wanted this made of acacia. Acacia is durable.
那因为就是神为什么要用皂荚木来造这个约柜？因为就是它很耐用。
But I think he also wanted it because it was common. Common. He wanted it to be common, something that they could easily do.
哦，那还有因为就是说它那个皂荚木在那地方是很常见的。
Okay, the next tree we're going to talk about is the tamarisk tree.
那还有另外一个树是叫做垂丝柳树。
Now the tamarisk tree it's not completely different than the acacia, but it does have some interesting differences. And the first one is, well, it does provide great shade, and the other one does too.
垂丝柳树它也能够提供很大的一个树荫。
There are a lot more leaves on a tamarisk tree, and so it's easier to have a nice shade rather than the acacia that isn't quite as leafy.
哦，因为垂丝柳树它的那个叶子比较多，相对于那个皂荚木的话。
All parts of the tamarisk tree can be used in some way, shape, or form.
垂丝柳树它几乎所有的每一个部分都可以被使用。
The leaves can be used. They use those. They can eat them or make it into a tea. The wood burns very long, and so the people who plant the tamarisk tree eventually are able to make use of it.
那垂丝柳树它的叶子可以拿来吃啊，或者说做茶叶啊等等的。那它的木头本身是可以烧很久的。
But the interesting thing about the tamarisk tree is that it grows very, very slowly.
那垂丝柳树它有一个特征，就是说它长得非常非常非常慢，
And it requires a lot of care.
而且需要很多的照顾。
It's not a tree that's just going to grow on its own. You're going to actually need to take care of it.
它不是一种它可以自己生长好的树，你需要照顾它。
When I was reading about the tamarisk tree, it says that there are times when, especially when they're young, if you drive a car next to a tamarisk tree, the roots in that area will die and it will potentially kill the plant.
它那个这种树呢，如果说你是开一个车过去的话，它那个根就会烂掉。
So they're a little more temperamental. You need to really care for them.
所以它比较脆弱。
And because they grow so slowly, and you do not plant a tamarisk tree so that you can enjoy it.
那当你种植这种树的时候，你种的话不是让自己可以来享受的。
There is if you planted a tamarisk tree when you were young, then possibly your grandchildren will enjoy a tamarisk.
当你在你幼年的时候种的那个垂丝柳树的话，可能要到你的孙子辈才能够看到它长大。
But you'll care for it. You'll have to work really hard at keeping it from dying. But the entire time you're thinking, this is something for my grandchildren to enjoy.
就是你在种植过程，你需要花很多心力，然后就是要很细心的照顾它。但是你可能心里想说啊，就是就是到我孙子辈才能够看到它长大。
In Genesis 21, it says this. So that place was called Beersheba. So just as a little background, Abraham ends up he's in a land that's not his own, and he ends up striking a deal with the people with Abimelech, and as a result, he's going to plant this tree.
在创世纪那边，就是亚伯拉罕就是离开他的本族本乡，然后来到别是巴那个地方。那他跟一个叫做亚比米勒的人，就是达成一个协议，然后要来种植这个垂丝柳树。
It says, so that place was called Beersheba because the two men swore an oath there. After the treaty had been made at Beersheba, Abimelech and Phicol, the commander of his forces, returned to the land of the Philistines. Abraham planted a tamarisk tree in Beersheba, and there he called on the name of the Lord, the eternal God. And Abraham stayed in the land of the Philistines for a long time.
因此那地方名叫别是巴，因为他们二人在那里起了誓。他们在别是巴立约以后，亚比米勒和他的军长非各就启程回非利士地去了。亚伯拉罕在别是巴栽了一棵垂丝柳树，就在那里求告耶和华永活的神的名。亚伯拉罕在非利士人的地方寄居了许多日子。
Okay, so the reason that this is significant, and there are other times that it talks about people with a tamarisk tree in the Bible, and it talks about them sitting under the shade of the tamarisk tree.
除了这个地方有提到垂丝柳树之外，还有圣经上还有其他很多地方会提到人坐在那个垂丝柳树下面，就是成阴凉。
But the thing that's interesting about the fact that he planted a tamarisk tree is that it requires work.
那这边提到说，他栽植的这个垂丝柳树，他这个需要去照顾它。
So when I was reading about this, and culturally, like from back then, they said that everybody would understand that he's planning on living there a while.
所以在那个时代人，他们能够了解到说，当你要种垂丝柳树的时候，你必须要在那个地方一段时日。
Because if he planted a tamarisk tree, he's not going to plant a tamarisk tree and then the next day just move on.
因为你不可能种了一个垂丝柳树，然后明天就离开那个地方。
Because the plant would die.
因为那个植物会死掉。
And so he had to stay there and kind of work. And he's like, I'm going to make sure that this area is good, not just for me, but for generations to come.
所以他应该是要种这个树的话，他就是会想到说，我要待在这边一段时日，然后让这个确定这个环境是好的，让我的之后的子孙也能够就享受到。
So the first tree is the acacia tree.
所以第一个树是那个杨槐就皂荚木的树。
Second tree is the tamarisk tree.
第二个树是垂丝柳树。
And the last one we're going to talk about.
最后一个是一种树。
There we go. Okay, is the Sodom apple tree.
只能字面上翻译就是所谓的索多玛苹果树。
It's a little skinnier.
它比较细小。
And there are some significant things related to the Sodom apple tree as well.
那它有一些特征。
Okay, the first thing is that it requires a lot of water.
第一点是它需要非常多的水。
In order to keep it nice and green, it requires a lot of apple. I mean, a lot of water.
你让它就是看起来很绿的话，你需要非常多的水。
But I mean, you have to admit, the flowers are beautiful.
但是你必须要承认，它的花还蛮漂亮的。
And the fruit is a good sized fruit. It's like a big apple or about the size of a small pomelo.
那它的大小大概是一颗很大的或是一个比较小的柚子的大小。
Which would be great, but it's all poisonous.
看起来是还不错，对吧？但是它其实是有毒的。
And inside the fruit, there's nothing there.
它的果实呢，里面其实什么都没有。
If you pick the fruit and just kind of pull, it'll just explode open and there's nothing inside.
当你把那个果实摘下的时候，它可能会整个爆炸，然后但是里面什么都没有。
Except for a few fibers.
它可能有些许的一些纤维。
And air.
还有空气。
And a sticky poisonous liquid that will not wash off with soap and water.
还有一种，它又会有一个黏黏的液体，就是你没有办法用肥皂把它洗掉。
I finally, after reading about it for like a couple days, I finally did find one thing. Apparently, some people use the fibers for pillows.
我研究了好几天，读了好多东西之后，终于找到说它那个纤维或许可以拿来做枕头。
Someone asked, is there anything that you can use it for? And finally, I found one thing. It's like, you have to be really desperate to use the fibers for pillows, I think.
你可能真的是非常，就是非常需要才会用这个纤维来做枕头。
So we have these 3 different trees, and I just want to read this now. The reason we're reading this, it doesn't say anywhere in the Bible, it doesn't talk about the Sodom apple tree specifically.
那其实，在圣经里面没有提到那个所罗马苹果树。
But in looking at it, they say that they're like 90-some% sure that this story refers to, or like pretty almost completely sure that this story is related to the Sodom apple tree.
那接下来我们要读这个列王记的这个故事呢，他们是说，很多人研究是说，这个所罗马苹果树可能就是这个故事里面的那个植物，90%大概90几以上的肯定度。
And they do know that all 3 of these different types of trees were around at the time of the Old Testament.
那就是在那个旧约时代，至少这3种树是在那个时代是有的。
Okay, so Elijah returned from Gilgal, and there was a famine in the region. While the company of the prophets was meeting with him, he said to his servant, "Put on the large pot, cook some stew for these prophets." One of them went out into the fields to gather herbs and found a wild vine and picked as many of its gourds as his garment could hold. When he returned, he cut them, put them in a pot of stew, though no one knew what they were. The stew was poured out for the men, but they began to eat it. They cried out, "Man of God, there's death in the pot!" And they could not eat it. Elisha said, "Get some flour." He put it in the pot and said, "Serve it to the people to eat," and there was nothing harmful in the pot. Oh, too far. Okay, there we go.
以利沙又回到吉甲，那地正发生饥荒，先知的门徒坐在他面前。他对他的仆人说：“把大锅放在火上，给先知的门徒们煮点东西吃。”有一个人到田野里那里去采摘野菜，他找到一棵野瓜藤，就摘下藤上的野瓜，装满了他的衣服。他回来把瓜切了，放入煮东西的锅中。他们不知道是什么东西，后来他们倒出来给众人吃。他们在吃锅里的东西的时候，都惨叫起来说：“神人呐，锅中有致死的毒物！”他们就不能吃了。他说：“拿些面给我。”他把面放在锅中，说：“倒出来给众人吃吧，锅里就没有毒了。”
Now, I don't think the story is saying if you eat Sodom apple, just go ahead and throw some flour on it and you'll be fine.
我想这个故事它意思不是说，如果你吃那个所罗马那个苹果树上的果子的话，你放一些面粉，你就会没事。
I think that the people were amazed that the people actually were able to live after that, just demonstrated the power of God.
那个应该只是一个神迹，就是他们居然吃那个东西还能够没事，有限制在。
There was a man that lived around the time of Jesus. His name was Josephus.
那有一个人叫Josephus， 他是在那个耶稣的时代的人。
And his name is difficult to see because it's in blue, but he was near the area of Sodom.
那他那个时候居住在所罗马附近。
And this is what he said: "As well as the ashes growing in their fruits, which fruits have a color as if they were fit to be eaten, but if you pick them with your hands, they dissolve into smoke and ashes."
所以他说的这段话就是说，就是那个果实，它看起来好像可以吃，但是当你把它摘下来的时候，它会整个溶解成烟跟灰烬。
So this plant actually does grow close to Sodom, which is why one of the reasons they call it Sodom apple.
所以这个证实就是说，那个索马苹果树确实是在那个时候是有存在的。
Okay, so we have 3 different trees in the desert, same desert, different trees.
所以我们现在有3种树，然后在同一个沙漠里面。
So we have the tamarisk tree.
有垂丝柳树。
We have the Sodom apple, and we have the acacia.
有索罗马苹果树，还有那个皂荚木树。
Briefly, I just want to give you some observations.
那我想给大家就是我们能够观察到一些什么事情。
The first is that we all have experiences in times of difficulty and testing.
那我想大家都有经过一些困难或者是试炼的时期。
We all have experienced times that are not things that we would choose.
那我们当然都有经过一些时期是我们没有去选择那样子的时期。
And I mean, it's like the dry desert scenario.
那就有点像这个，就是很干的那个沙漠的那种事情。
You have that feeling. It's like I just can't go on.
你有种感觉是说我没办法再走下去了。
And it's just too hot in it seems like my life is just dried up.
好像我的生命整个枯干了。
And we have 3 different trees, if we can get to that. The way we respond to these challenges could be similar to the way these trees live.
那我们在这些试炼的时期，我们的反应可能就像这3种树一样。
One way would be similar to the acacia tree.
其中一种可能就像皂荚木的树。
That we would take our roots and just plant them really, really deep.
就我们把那个根种得非常的深。
So that we would be able to endure those times of desert.
我们必须要扎根，以至于我们能够在这个沙漠的这段时期呢，能够忍受过去。
So that the times that this like my life is like a drought, that we'd be able to see past that and be able to endure.
所以就是我们好像在这个干旱的时期的时候，我们的生命仍然能够越过这段时期。
And when we're able to drink up that living water, when we're able to have the nourishment that we need, we just plant things into our lives to really those minerals that we need to be able to make us strong.
所以我们就是能够，如果我们能够从那个生命的活水，能够就是因为我们根扎得很深，就然后把那些水能够吸收，然后有那些矿物质，来让我们的生命能够就是在这一段这些困难时期能够度过。
Another option is the tamarisk tree.
那另外一种选择是垂丝柳树。
When we're experiencing the desert, we can just grow very slowly. We might grow very slowly with the help of a lot of other people.
就是我们在这些试炼的时候，我们可能成长得非常慢，但是有很多其他人的帮忙照顾。
But we're looking to be shade and rest for future generations.
那我们看到的是说，我们之后可能在我们的几个世代之后，我们可以成为他们的帮助，或者是他们对帮助。
Both of these very, very good, and maybe even if you had like a combination of the 2 of those, that would be excellent.
这2种树的反应都很好，或许我们还可以有这2种树的反应的综合版。
Another option would be when you're facing times of desert, you could decide to live out your life like the Sodom apple tree.
那当然还有另外一种选择，就是像那个所罗马苹果树一样。
You could say, well, I just need to take care of myself.
你可能想说啊，我只要把自己照顾好就好了。
And any fruit that you bear in your life at that time would look good, but essentially would amount to nothing.
在那段期间，你可能结的果子可能看起来还不错，但其实它就是到最后是什么都没有。
So really, the main question that we might want to ask ourselves is, when faced with difficulty, when you have those challenges in your life, which tree would you like to describe you?
所以我们可以问自己一个问题：当我们经过一些试炼、困难的时期的时候，这3种哪一种树是你希望是被就是说描述？就是说你是像哪一种树
Which tree would you say describes you right now when you're facing troubles?
哪一种树可以描述你在现在的生命的阶段
And if it's not if it's not an answer that you're liking, then what do you want to do about it?
如果答案不是你喜欢的话，那你要怎么做呢？
Let's pray.
我们来祷告。
Heavenly Father, we thank you.
天父，谢谢你。
We thank you that when we have times of desert, that it's not just a completely barren time.
谢谢你让我们在经过那些试炼的时候，不只是一个受苦的时候。
We thank you that even when it's difficult, even when we have really rough times, that you are there.
谢谢你在我们非常困难的时候，你仍然在我们旁边。
We thank you that you provide for us in those times that are difficult.
谢谢你能够在这段时间仍然能够供应给我们。
And so, Lord, we pray that we would find the beauty that you have in those times.
主要求我们希望能够在这种试炼的时候，仍然能够看到你的美。
Lord, help us to look up and see how you have provided for us.
可以帮助我们，让我们能够仰望你，以至于我们能够看到你所给我们的供应。
Lord, we pray that we would place our roots deep.
求你帮助我们，让我们能够扎根。
And that we would see that you place us here not just for us, but for generations.
所以当我们遇到一些困难环境的时候，不只是看到我们自己，还有看到我们的下一代。
Thank you, Lord.
谢谢主耶稣。
In your name we pray. Amen.
祷告是奉靠主耶稣的名求，阿们。
好，我们再次谢谢今天丁马可牧师的正道，变成慈鲁巴的家庭事工。那么我们也欢迎那个新朋友，your first time， yeah。
大家好，我叫 Jerry， 中文名字我姓张，中成张，字数的字，宇宙语的宇，回来台湾，刚好有认识Mark 牧师，还有 Michelle， 还有今天他带我教会，谢谢。
好，那么教会事工那边有一个就是礼拜一，我们晚上7点呢有英文插件聚会，就是Monday we will still have our Bible study。所以欢迎弟兄姐妹一起来参加的，对，然后我们应该没有特别事情要报告，所以我们就一同起立，我们请Mark为我们做祝福祷告。Pray for us。
愿主耶稣基督的恩惠、上帝的慈爱、圣灵的感动与交通，从你们同在，从今直到永永远远。
弟兄们请坐，我们默祷散会。
So we'll see you tomorrow.
Yes, we'll be here tomorrow. Yeah. Okay. Very good.
Thank you.
Thank you. It was really good. Even when I was only.
Oh, good. You guys have seven of the Bring Back One DVDs. In English and Chinese. I'll show you.
Because I check with them.
It's fine. The only thing that wasn't changed was his name was